Hi everyone, it's time for another episode of Atoms for the Love of Movie Picks. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the hit 1985 film, The Goonies. And before we begin on this, I got to give a shout out to my friend Colin. He's the one that asked me to do the video on The Goonies. So here you are, Colin. I'm obliging you. Hope you like it. So The Goonies starred quite a few famous actors, some of them very early in their careers. You had Sean Astin as Mikey, Josh Brolin as Brand, Corey Feldman as Mouth. You had Robert Davi as Jake, and Joe Pantoliano as Francis. And then the other one, I swear I've seen him in movies before. Maybe I'm thinking of him as Short Run in Indiana Jones. Ki Hua Kwan as Data. So yeah, quite a few well-known actors in this movie. So yeah, the premise of the movie, it's the Goonies is the namesake. It's the name of the group of these kids in the movie that star in the movie. They're the best friends. They all live in the same area, and basically they're trying to find this long lost treasure of a famous pirate called One Eyed Willie. To basically save their homes from being taken back by the bank and being destroyed. There's many famous funny scenes. Even before I start talking about those, so I know a lot of people have watched the Goonies. It's kind of cliche to be talking about the Goonies and recommending the Goonies, but I mean, if you haven't seen it before, or maybe you've seen it and you have kids who haven't seen it, definitely have them check it out. Great movie. You can't go wrong with the Goonies. Even if you have seen it before, watch it again. You're not going to be disappointed. It's one of those movies you can watch over and over again, and it never gets old. At least not to me, anyways. So yeah, just wanted to mention that before I got into it. So one of the early scenes in the movie, you got Chunk doing the truffle shuffle. Very classic, funny scene. Of course, Mouth being Mouth, he's kind of the wise guy of the group. He wants before he lets Chunk into the gate, he says, "Do the truffle shuffle." It's a very funny scene. It's just classic and hilarious. Unfortunately for the Goonies, the bad guys in this film are the Fratellis, a mother and her three sons. It's really two sons, the main two sons that you see, and then of course you learn about the third son later on. We'll get to him after. And basically, they find out from the kids because they're hiding out in this old restaurant, and the entrance to the cave that leads to the treasure is under this old restaurant. That's where the Fratellis happen to be hiding out after springing the one son out of prison. And unfortunately, they find out what the kids are there for, and they want the treasure as well, being the greedy bad guys that they are. There's another scene. So the reason they find out is Chunk ends up getting captured by the bad guys, by the Fratellis. And he gets locked in the room with their third son, whose name is Sloth. The premise is he's developmentally disabled, obviously disfigured, kind of like a hunchback character. Chunk basically gives Sloth a chocolate bar, and instantly Chunk and Sloth become great friends. They find they have a lot in common. It's very heartwarming and funny seeing the two of them, laugh it up and have a good time. At first, of course, Chunk and, of course, the other kids are terrified of Sloth. I mean, he's a giant. His appearance is pretty terrifying, but Chunk finds out that Sloth is really sweet and actually a good guy. So they become really good buddies, and, they kind of find they have a kindred spirit within each other. The other thing I love about this movie, Data's character is just classic, with all those goofy gadgets and inventions that he used throughout the movie to get out of situations and, handle the bad guys. It's pretty funny. It's almost like James Bond, gone goofy kind of thing. So I really like Data. And, Data has some funny lines in the movie as well. And of course, all the challenges that the Goonies have to overcome, and the ingenious, the ingenious ways that they overcome these, booby traps, is very clever and really shows the ingenuity to this group, and and each character shows they have a role to play in helping out the group. So, and of course, who doesn't love the part at the end where Sloth shows up and yells his famous line, "Hey, you guys," as he's coming down off the sail on the rope. It's great. One of my favorite line in the movie. I mean, who doesn't love that scene? and actually helps the Goonies save the day against his own family, against the Fratellis, because they've treated him so badly because they think he's just this big dumb monster. They've kept him locked up most of his life in chains. So they've treated him very badly, and he's very angry with them with that. So he has no problem, going against his own family and helping the Goonies save the day. And in the end, of course, the Goonies get the treasure they need to save their homes, and all is well. So yeah, overall, Goonies, great family film. All ages can watch it. It's funny. It's got a great storyline, simple storyline, effective. The effects are great. I mean, even for 1985, I mean, I think this part of what made it so classic is a movie like this. I don't know if it would work in this day and age. With all the CGI effects and whatnot. It just seemed to be more proper in the era of in the 1980s. But yeah, overall, and of course the acting, even these actors that were early in their careers, they were sublime even back then, and the secondary actors, they do a good job too. So yeah, highly recommend checking out the Goonies. Like I said, if you haven't seen it before, go check it out. You'll love it. And maybe you've seen it, but your kids haven't. Have them check it out. And even if you have seen it, watch it again. You can't go wrong with the Goonies. And you can pretty much find any place that movies are sold. Pretty sure it's available on a streaming platform. I mean, it's one of the most popular movies of all time. And yeah, highly recommend the Goonies to anybody. Have yourselves a good one, folks. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care.